Hi, I'm David from Form Pro Ratings. This evening I'm going to walk you through the Form Pro sectionals, which we provide to the Palmerston North Greyhounds website. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Palmerston North Greyhounds website, which is at pngreyhounds.kiwi. It's a shiny new website, lots of good information there. But what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the basics of the sectionals. So the first thing you need to do is go to the pngreyhounds.kiwi website. Once you're there, you'll see a number of silos and a number of links. Under racing, notice that we're providing speed maps for the Greyhounds, the PN Greyhounds website. We're most interested in the race results and sectionals. So if you click on race results and sectionals, what will then display is the most recent results. So here we have the most recent results, which of course was last week's. Conveniently, the first race is the Form Pro Ratings free every Tuesday, which of course is a reminder that we do provide free ratings every Tuesday for the Palmerston North Greyhounds, which are available on formproratings.co.nz. And in front of us, we have the race results and the information for that race. And what we'll see there is the finishing order. We'll see the runner, the box that the runner came from, the number of days between starts, the margin, and obviously for a runner like Big Time Tommy, which was the winner, there is no margin. The in-run position, the first number is the first time the runners were taken, the position of the runner the first time it was taken. At Palmerston North, if you want to align the times with the in-run position, generally you'll find that it's the second number. So at the sectionals at Palmerston North, they take a mark partway down the back straight. The second position is at the end of the back straight, which is where the sectional marker is. And then the last position is the finish post. So in the case of Big Time Tommy, he was fourth out of the boxes. He was second at the end of the back straight, and that's evident from the lead time, and he was first when it mattered. Now we get to the information that I suppose is most important to this video, the sectional time. So the lead is the opening sectional from the boxes at Palmerston North to the end of the back straight, and the close is from the same position where the opening sectional was taken, from that position to the finishing post. And so what we can see here is that Big Time Tommy ran 6.76 opening sectional, and the closing sectional was 17.76. Generally, we allowed just over 0.06 of a second per length. And so you can see in this case that he was about a length and a quarter, a length and a half behind Allegro Pippa at the first sectional. One of the things that may not be evident but it's really, really useful is that each of these columns can be sorted by simply clicking on the column header. So if we want to see the fastest opening sectionals in this race, we can see here, obviously the Big Time Tommy was actually the fourth fastest, but he was clearly, if we click on the closing sectional, he was clearly the fastest with K to SO, and I should have chosen a name that I can pronounce correctly, the slowest. So it's a nice way of sorting information within a race. Just want to jump through to a C1 race later in the day, which is the race won by Big Time Lanteo. And we can see there from the in-run position that Big Time Lanteo jumped, run, and won very, very comfortably, a 5 length back to second, and almost 10 lengths back to the third runner. And the sectional times again show that with a blistering opening sectional and a very fast closing sectional. So one of the criticisms, I suppose, of sectionals is that they can be useful within a race, but it's hard to actually use that information unless you can compare it with other data on the day or around the time. And one of the things that we have done here with this data, with this site, is that you can get, for every distance, you can get a best of day report. So this here is showing just the data for the race, but if we click on the best of day report, and what we'll see now is that because we've come from a race that was 410 meters, it will show by default the data for the 410 meters. And so we can see here that it's 410 meters and the opening sectionals. And what becomes really interesting here is that in addition to all the data that we've been looking at previously, we also have the class. And we can see that the two fastest opening sectionals on the day were Big Time Lanteo. We're Big Time Cooper and Big Time Ferry, who are C4 and C5 dogs, which is pretty much to be expected. What's of interest to us is that the next best was Big Time Lanteo. Opening speed is one thing. What about closing? So let's have a look at the closing sectionals. It just takes a little bit of time because we're recording this. And so now we have the best closing sectionals for 410 meters on the day. And no surprises that Big Time Cooper, who had, I think, the best or the second best opening sectional, he turned up with the he did actually have the best opening sectional. He actually has the fourth or fifth, sixth best closing sectional. And a dog that can do it at both ends is clearly going to be a dog that's going to win many races. And so again, there's no surprises if we look there that the three top closing sectionals come from C4 and C5 dogs, Big Time Cooper there. What's interesting about these runners, of course, is that we can see very clearly that whilst they have very strong closing sectionals, all three dogs in the races on the 9th were slow out of the boxes, and a number of these dogs are known for being slow out of the boxes. It doesn't necessarily mean that the dogs, of course, are going to win next time up, because they still have to jump, and if they don't, as we know, box speed is gold. And if they don't jump, then it doesn't matter how fast their closing sectionals are, it's often impossible for them to run down a dog that's got good early speed. What is useful about this report is that we can see very quickly that Big Time Lanteo, even though it's a C1 dog, was running a time that was about a length slower than the C4 and C5 dogs. And was pretty much on time with Big Time Cooper, to be fair. So a dog like Big Time Lanteo can be expected to go on and experience, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it work its way through the grades very quickly based on the times that we're seeing here. And if we look quickly down, we can see a dog like Big Time Chris also won with a pretty good closing sectional. Well, for Wi-Fi, again, not as quick as a couple of the other dogs, but the times are competitive, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see Wi-Fi Wilbur win more races in the future based on the sectionals. As I mentioned, we can easily change the race distance. So now we're looking at 457 meters, which is the middle distance at Palmerston North. It's going to default to closing sectionals, but I like starting with the opening sectionals. And we can see there that Big Time Bree had the, by about a length, the fastest opening sectional. And if we then view the closing sectionals, we'll see that Big Time Bree had the fourth best closing sectional. So once again, a dog that can run it at the beginning and at the end and coming from box 5 is clearly going to win a few races. Big Time Seth is a dog that again has a very good closing sectional, but in this case and a couple of other times recently it's missed the start. Graham Park is a dog that does tend to get back, but is known for having a very strong closing sectional. And as we can see from the data, even though it made a reasonable start. It was still giving up a little bit of, if we do that there, we can see if we've now ordered it by the lead time. So of the top dogs for the closing sectionals, M. Graham Park rated what, about 6th or 7th for the opening sectional. So that's just a quick way of finding out how they compare. So basically, all the information is here. Opening sectionals, closing sectionals. For Palmerston North, we don't bother with the middle section, and you can get the times for the staying races, although of course there's generally only one of those races, or the distance races, there's generally only one of those races. So that's a very quick introduction to the sectionals. The sectionals are at pngreyhounds.kiwi. And you can also see them on the Form Pro Sectional site, which is sectionals.co.nz. If you have any questions, just leave them in the post below. Thank you for your time and good punting.